Once again from the
Coming to you straight out of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and brought to you by the Sioux Empire Podcast Network. This is Urban Indianz Podcast.
Outsiders and outsiders, it's on fire. To everything that we turn to, we will go lava. Like acrobats, see us flying the twist off a cliff and never drop down onto a bit. So hands up. Eyes out there, throw your hands in the sky. Rosebud pine, reach down to the sky. Raise up your fingers, so we coming with the roar. Raise up your fingers, so we coming with the roar.
Bringing you an educated and entertaining look at life through the eyes of the modern-day Native American. Urban Indianz Podcast. Hosted by everyone's favorite natives. Night Shield, Night Shizzle, Miss Shark Green Maximal, GP, Gorilla Pimp, and Kathy Stans. You're listening to Urban Indianz Podcast.
All right, welcome to the Urban Indianz Podcast. I'm your host, Gabriel Nightshield, joined today with Char Green,
Hello.
Maximo, and we have a special guest in the house, Will Bushee. I want to say I love your last name. It's awesome. Will is here from Native, or was it Code Bootcamp?
Yes.
Am I saying that right?
Yeah. Technically it's Code Bootcamp School, which is a 501c3 that I set up last year so that we could host these programs for Native American communities.
Awesome. And it's video games, right?
Yeah, we build video games.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Kids build video games.
Yeah. How did you get involved in that?
Well, so the story is about 4 years ago, my kids were sitting home doing nothing all summer long, and I thought, well, maybe we should teach them to build video games or something. So I put a website up, and I said, well, if we get 15 kids to sign up, I'll go ahead and run a camp, and we'll teach kids to build video games. So we got 17 kids to sign up.
Nice.
And I'm like, oh, I guess I better figure out how to build video games.
Yeah.
Luckily, I put the date, like 2-3 months in advance, so I had plenty of time. So I went out and figured out how to build video games.
Awesome.
And we created about 4 different games over 5 days. And the last one that we created was we recreated levels 1 and 2 of Super Mario Brothers.
Oh, badass.
Cool.
So the kids really thought that was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We downloaded the original images and everything. And then that was right before school started, so we didn't really have time to kick another one off. And I invited all the media to come out, and all the local TV stations came out and did stories. And then Stephanie reached out to me and said, hey, have you ever considered taking these out to the Native communities? And I said, well, I don't really have any ability to do so, but if you want to help find some sponsors, we could definitely do it. And so we started looking around, and then just due to some weird coincidences, I ran into the president of the Northern Plains of AT&T at a networking event. And I was explaining, like we were talking before the podcast, some of the things that I do. And she says, well, I've got some sponsorship money. We'd love to have you go out and take this into the Native communities. So I got hold of Stephanie, and we started to get that rolling about 3 years ago. And then Bobby Johnson is our teacher. And so he goes out and spends 3 days, and the kids build video games.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I kind of want to take your camp. Like, was there an age limit on it?
Well, it kind of is, but we can always slip you in as a mentor.
Yeah, there you go. That's awesome. Yeah, that would be something, that like, whenever I was a kid, like, I never even thought that could be, like, a real job that you could have as, like, you're a video game builder or whatever. I just always thought that they just created themselves somehow, I guess. I don't.
Yeah.
But
well, the first one that we did, it was a little bit rough, and we weren't sure exactly what the kids were going to understand. And as a software engineer, I way over-engineered those games. And a lot of time, like, well, no, I was saving us a couple steps by combining these 9 things together, which was a huge mistake. So as we've gone on over the years, I've made the games a lot easier. And so last week, we ran one of our camps here in Sioux Falls, and the kids actually built 7 games during the 5-day camp. And then the Native American one that we did with Bobby Johnson, he just goes 3 days, and they build 3 different video games.
Sweet. So, like, how long are the video games? Like say you start to finish, like, how long? Is it just like a level you're playing, or what's the details of the game?
So the ones that we host, the 5-day ones, we'll get them starting off with some very simple games, and they're very creative. They don't take a lot of steps to do, but they get that immediate feedback. the final game that we do, I called it Cave Slayer this year, and it takes place inside of a cave, and there's hot lava that shoots up from the floor, and then there's the hero that has to battle 2 different types of enemies, one big boss at the end, and then we have multiple levels. We keep track of the life points of the hero, and then each of the enemies has their own life points. So these get very, very complicated.
Sweet.
We usually start them out a little bit easier, and then the ones that we take out with Bobby, we scale those back a little bit. We usually do one will be a platform game, so very similar to Super Mario Brothers, but the kids can put their own characters in.
Yeah.
There's not any fixed characters. And then the other big one that we do is we recreate essentially the equivalent of Angry Birds.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. Like, do the Angry Birds have like headdresses on and stuff like that?
They do. Bobby does bring a lot of the culture in
Really?
the classes. He really
badass.
does, yeah. And then he does bring in different images that are much more cultural relevant. And then he
Yeah, like
spends a lot of
Mario
time
with like
talking.
war paint on, and
Yeah.
that's awesome.
That's the
Yeah.
nice thing about building your own games is the sky's
Yeah.
the limit. We can use any characters that we want, and the functionality of the games are very similar. It's just we can swap those games, or the characters in and out, and the enemies in and out.
Sweet. So you do like the Mario game, but with like Spider-Man in it or something like that?
We usually let the kids pick their own characters.
Like, can they
Which is
like
fun.
create like
Yep.
their
Yeah.
own, or?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We'll
Sweet.
have a number of kids that will be very big into art, and they'll draw
Yeah.
their own characters, or they'll create them within a Photoshop program. I had one student last year come, and he must have been like a Photoshop whiz or something. I mean, he's like taking pictures of himself, and he's like cropping in different things, and he put himself into the game.
That's badass.
Yeah, I saw my nephew did one of these camps last year, and he had just an absolute blast. He stayed with me because he's from out of town. He stayed with me for the week, and he just absolutely loved it. And I got to see some of the creations on the last day, some of those final projects, and how much like graphic design went into. Because there were some
Yeah.
kids that like I think one kid had like a Trump themed game or something like that, where you were like blowing like holes in the Trump wall or whatever. And then like I saw a crazy one with like, I want to say like carrots and just lots of zany random stuff, and you could tell they were just like could take their own images and put it in, so it was hilarious and awesome.
That's badass.
Yeah,
That's
one
awesome.
of the games that we create we call Floppy Man, which we did last year too, and it's like a stick figure, but it's real floppy with the physics engine, and you can just blast them around the screen and knock them around things. And we did that again this year because the kids really liked it, and there's a bunch of kids made it into Floppy Trump.
I think I was a floppy man last night. It was a rough one, but
You're alive to me.
yeah. What's like the age limit on the like for the kids that can go to it?
Yeah, the ones that we host, we break them into usually 3 to 4 year time or ages because it's just a lot easier to keep them together. So we'll do kind of on the lower end, 10 to 13, and then we'll do like about 12 to 16 or so, and we'll split them up that way. On the Native American ones, just because Bobby does it a little bit of a slower pace, it's not as big of a deal. Some of the older kids will help out the younger kids that are in there, which I
Cool.
think is really nice to have that be part of their camp too. So we don't really stick a hard age limit on that. We just try to go between 10, 11 to kind of as old as the kids would want to come.
It's like 39, okay?
39's pushing it. We can get you in. We'll just put you in as a mentor.
Yeah.
You could be one of the, quote, helpers.
Yeah. My daughter is my daughter's 12 years old. Like, how would I get her like signed up for it?
Sure. So we've got a number of them still hosted around the community, around South Dakota. We've got 2 that we're going to be doing here in Sioux Falls later this summer. The specific dates on the Sioux Falls ones are July 19th or 17th through the 19th, and then July 31st through August 2nd.
And we'll link to all this in the show notes, by the way, for
Cool.
people wondering.
Yeah, I do. I think she would
I
get a
shared
kick
it
out
on
of that.
my Facebook page.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're completely free for the Native American ones through the grant from AT&T. And native.sdgamingbootcamp.com will redirect you over to the event page where you can sign up.
Sweet. I have a friend of mine, Jenny Claremont. Her son is I think he's like 16 or 15. He's a young kid, and he travels. He's like some super like gamer kid. He travels all over the world, like playing video games. Like he's just like, I don't know what game he's playing, or I don't know too much of the details, but I know he travels everywhere from being like so good at whatever fucking game he's
Yeah.
playing.
They must
but
pay for it, right?
yeah, they pay. He probably makes more money than I do, and he's like 16 years old playing video games. It's like, man, it's the life.
I've
But-
read about
Crazy.
that, like in Wired. Well, part of it is they say is just like a big thing with the pro gamers like that are sponsored and have teams and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Is the age range, because they say your reflex speed is huge. You know, for like
Yeah.
Overwatch and stuff like that, and so they say that even like pro gamers like that is like they start that early because the human body, your reflexes are already going to start showing some decay, even compared to like other. You wouldn't think it. You'd think, oh,
Yeah.
well, you're sitting down, so I'm sure there's older athletes that do it, but no, it's like much stricter that are much a harder line than like actual physical sports, where it's like starting at about 20 or whatever, you're shot.
Yeah.
Compared to the reflexes of like the 18-year-olds and stuff like that.
I've talked to her about maybe getting him on the show, because I'm just amazed by like this kid is like 16 going to like Puerto Rico and like all these weird places to like play games and stuff like that. And yeah, well, I mean, just going to play video games.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
In another lifetime, would Gabriel, rather than getting into hip hop, have gotten into
Yeah.
pro gaming?
Yeah, hell yeah. If like back in the day, like when I had Nintendo playing Contra and Mario Brothers
Oh,
3
yeah.
and like yeah, I'm not too much into video games anymore. I don't know, but I used to be like when I was back when the original Nintendo was around. But
Yeah.
I don't know.
I get dizzy. I can't play video games. It's
Just don't
weird.
have the patience for it anymore. Like I'll get stuck on a level, or like if it takes me more than like 4 tries to get past this thing, I'm like, fuck this game, I'm done. Like
Or like
but-
the fighting games. I remember when I was younger, I could like go forever.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But now I'm like one game. I'm like, oh, my hands are cramping up. And, like,
I
can't
do
play
like
anymore.
fighting games.
Yeah, those are
But-
the only ones I like. And then the old school of Mario. I
I always
love
play
those.
with like Maniac, but Maniac always just like he's just like so good at it that it's not even fun anymore. It's like
Why
I
does
can't
that
even
not
move my
surprise
character
me?
around.
Right.
Maniac is
Yeah. I can
awesome
just
at
picture
games.
him.
Yeah, he just won I think it was Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat, some tournament in Rapid. He won.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do they get paid?
Yeah, he got money.
Nice.
There's I guess there's a comic shop up there called Storyteller, and they opened up a video game place like right next to Storyteller, and they had some fighting game tournament like a couple weeks ago, and Maniac went up there and won whatever game they were playing. But yeah, he went up and won some money.
It's just crazy that that's a thing. Like,
Yeah.
just play video games and
Yeah.
There's a lot of
get your
them
skill.
on Twitch now where they're streaming and, like you said earlier, sponsors, and they're able to go around and kind of professionally do it. Yeah, the esports is just taking off. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's like
But we have like Galaxy Gaming here. I don't
Yeah.
know what that. They just let them play though, right?
Yeah, that's just it's basically like a gaming cafe, because so they have like performance like gaming machines, and then they also got laser tag and stuff like that. But the only reason I know what Galaxy Gaming is because a while back I was involved in a business plan where part of the plan involved buying a whole bunch of their surplus machines, because they're when it's still like a good machine but it's not fast enough for their high end games anymore. It was just like But yeah, that's what they do. So
It's
I
open,
know
like,
that one because I've talked
24
about buying the
hours, right?
machines.
No, it's not.
No,
No, it's not open 24 hours. But,
Oh, okay.
I know they open, or they stay open really,
really late. No,
Yeah.
what
So-
does?
Galaxy.
Oh
Gaming.
yeah.
Yeah, but they've got, I don't know if it's unlimited access to Steam, or I'm not sure
Yeah,
how that
it's-
works out in the licensing, but you can kind of play any games. My kids have gone, but it's funny, they'll go and they'll like play the same games that they play at home.
Yeah.
Was it just like
It's
better
just adding
machines?
a
Or?
weird social aspect, and yeah, it's access to like something with like a really high end graphics card and stuff. So I'd imagine, I don't know because I haven't been. I'd imagine they have a few setups for like the PlayStation VR and stuff like that. Would be.
Yeah, they do. They've got a lot of the consoles too, but I mean, I think in general they're better machines than what kids would have at home, but not my kids.
Do you ever go to like the bonus round bar or whatever, that video game
Oh,
bar
yeah,
in town here?
that cute
And-
little building.
Skylar
Yeah.
keeps trying
Right
to get
off the
me to go there, but I don't do. I'm old and don't do bars anymore. But if I were to do a bar,
But it's, like,
it would be
probably-
one that
how
has a
big
bunch
is
of
it?
'80s video games.
Yeah.
It's small, right?
Yeah, it's
very
tiny.
small.
It's
Yeah.
it's a cool spot though. Like I don't go there enough. I probably haven't been there in a couple years now, but I always liked going there. Just play some.
They have pizza and stuff.
I don't think so. I think it's just like a beer bar.
It's
okay.
it's so small that I can't imagine they have a kitchen. I would be impressed if they did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have a listener question from Amber Dobbins, who asks, do you plan to incorporate video game testing at all in the future, like by taking the kids to on a special field trip to a testing facility?
That would be fun. Can we come up to Midco?
Not much video game testing going on there. that our bosses know about.
What would be the closest one?
I don't know what the closest one would be. But one of the things that we do, we host our regular camps at DocuTap and Raven. And so we always have them give us tours of the facility. And Raven's a really neat facility if you've never been in there. But they get to go up to the engineering floor and just see all the tractor parts and pieces that they're working on and the different sprayers and automated technology. And we've integrated some AI into the video games. I mean, it's real simple things. But it's just kind of interesting to see, this is the next step where we've got automated tractors. So I don't know if that's close.
That's cool. Did you see Ready Player One?
I haven't seen the movie yet, but I did read the book.
The book is awesome.
Yeah.
Really? I saw the movie. The movie was okay. It was
Is it like a recent movie?
Yeah.
Never
Came out like a couple months ago, maybe. Yeah. It's like
you're like always at the movies.
I'm a movie fanatic.
Like lives there.
Yeah, I love movies. I watched. Go off into another subject. Anybody seen Hereditary at all?
I want to.
Oh, I want to talk about that movie so much. It's ridiculous.
What's it about?
Just the trailer is like a total mind fuck,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
Like, whoa.
Yeah, it's so ridiculous. I want to go watch it again. Like, it's scary. It's like
scary movie. Then.
And not jump scary.
Yeah, not like
it's Lovecraftian, like
it's slow, horror. Creepy, like The Shining or like The Exorcist or like in that vein. It's not like monsters are popping out under the bed or anything silly like
little
that.
Japanese girl.
Yeah, it's just eerie. Like the whole movie, it just slowly builds up, and then the end is ridiculous. Yeah,
did you scream?
No, I was just like sitting there, like I didn't even get up out of after the movie ended. I just sat there for like 2-3 minutes, like holy fuck. Like it took me a minute to like.
Go
I just went by myself.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was
like no, I took Leah.
Yeah, I would. She would.
Like
I would take
I
her.
don't know.
That's why she's sitting in the living room right now, like.
Still in shock.
Yeah, that movie is so good. If you ever get the chance to check it out, I can't recommend it enough. It's great. But back to video games.
Same thing.
There's a Spider-Man video game coming out for PS4 that I'm a big Spider-Man nerd in case you couldn't tell. But
that is actually getting a lot of buzz in the office. Like it's fun. I imagine that like at other workplaces, people are like sports ball, the sports ball. But amongst the nerdy software developers, where Doctor Who is regularly the topic, this new Spider-Man game because they're like, we're finally gonna get a good Spider-Man game, and one's like, no way, they'll never make another good Spider-Man game. And people getting like heated and passionate about it, and I'm just kind of like. Yeah.
I remember back 5 or 6 years ago, it was like big, like everyone played it.
Yeah. But, there's whoever this is, who's developing it? It's like it's some like big developer, like game developer. I don't really know too much about video games, but the Spider-Man game has me fired up because it's like open world and it looks like I'll buy it and then I'll get frustrated with it in like an hour and be like, fuck this, and then but just swing around and have fun as Spider-Man. But yeah, I don't know.
What did you think of that Spider-Verse trailer?
That looks badass. Yeah,
that looks really cool. I'm excited just for like the animation style looks so awesome.
Yeah, it looks way different.
I don't have cable, so I have like no idea what you're getting. So I only happen to see trailers like when I'm on Facebook or something.
I have like all the cable, and I watch YouTube. And that's why it's like I have all that cable and I still pay for YouTube Red because all I ever watch is YouTube.
Yeah.
Someone told me about YouTube. They said that it's really good.
YouTube Red?
Yeah.
It's so nice because if you're like me and you have no life and all you do is watch YouTube, the cutting out the commercials. Oh, it's so nice because you don't even realize it's nice, but you don't realize it until you go visit your mom and she's got YouTube on the TV, but it's not YouTube Red, so commercials pop in and you just. What is this? What's going on? I'm scared.
See, that's why I like Netflix. Because, like, you can just binge watch forever. Like,
Yeah.
not realize, like, oh, damn, that's a whole day. Watch the whole series.
Are you still watching Sons of Anarchy?
Yeah, I'm, like, on season 3.
Ooh.
So I watch it
Have
with
they
my
gone
kids.
to Ireland yet, or is that's
Yep,
the season
yep.
they go to Ireland? Like, yeah,
Yep.
okay.
Yeah, so I'm about halfway through. So, yeah, it's getting...
Right on.
Like, I watch it at nighttime when my kids are sleeping, so sometimes I fall asleep. And then I'm like, damn.
to rewatch
I have to
the
rewatch it.
I know a
Yeah.
lot of parents like that, where it's like, because I had one coworker who's a huge Game of Thrones fan, and so but he's got a house full of little kids, so how he catches up is just like, we needed someone to volunteer to go into the office and reset a server and then like sit with it for 3 hours in the middle of the night. It's like, I'll do it. So,
Yeah.
so he'd come in there and he's in the server room on, like just doing whatever he needs to do, and also Game of Thrones playing on his phone while he's doing it. It's just like, it's his escape so we can watch the adult stuff.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. That's dedication right there.
Nice. That's cool. What bringing it back to your gaming things, where's the farthest you've traveled? Like what native schools have you taken this camp to?
Yeah, we've taken to a number of them, and I'm not super familiar with all the different areas, but I know we were in Chamberlain a couple of times, so we'll be back again this year. And then Bobby was down on the south side of the state here last year. I think it was a year before, too.
Mm-hmm.
But it's mostly, we try to keep it kind of within 3-4 hours of Sioux Falls.
Yeah.
It's just easier for logistics
Yeah.
than to
So
go
you can
too far
travel
out.
the same
Yeah.
day and travel back.
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot of effort to, we've hosted a number of just regular camps out in Pierre, and I mean, it is just such a huge level of effort to go out for 5 days.
Yeah.
If you're just teaching for 6 hours, you got the whole rest of the time that you just
So
sit
do you
around.
go to places where they're like providing you with computers then, or do you guys bring computers?
It's a little bit of both. Surprisingly, a lot of the communities do have community centers with computers. We've had some logistical problems just working out, getting access to them. This past year, we did buy some laptops, so we've got 10 laptops that we can take with us around.
Oh,
Makes us
cool.
a lot more portable, and we're
Yeah.
not dependent on the other technology. Technically, we can do the games without internet, but having internet then allows the kids to go out and kind of download their own images and customize them, and
Yeah.
kind of do some other fun things during the week.
Awesome.
Yeah. And they provide lunch, right, for the native gaming one?
We do.
Yeah.
We've been providing lunch. Usually there's a local community partner that will bring lunch. And we do 3 days on those, so it's not quite as bad. We'll do 2 days of lunch.
I've seen your Instagram with the lunches and the snacks.
Yeah,
You
they're...
gotta have snacks.
So, so like I mentioned earlier, my stepdaughter, daughter, and my 2 nephews that went, and they're just like, they had so much pop. That's the first thing you tell me.
Gamers and programmers are completely 100% powered by caffeine.
You have to get them at an early age, because if you don't, kids will grow up and not have a desire to drink pop and eat junk food.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You know.
Right on. How long? How many hours a day is like the camp sessions or whatever?
We've been doing 10 a.m. to 3 p.m.
Oh, that's not
and
too
then
bad.
we do 3 days. And we've just found that a lot of just travel plans and logistics just are just difficult. So if we can kind of keep it and over lunch and then providing a lunch, that helps a lot. So just finding a local partner that can bring lunch in. Last week when we did it in Sioux Falls, we just did some Jimmy John sandwiches and then pizza on Friday. Or it was like technically Thursday, but pizza the last day.
Sweet. Yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun. I didn't know about this. It seems like
I
be
told
something.
you about it last year.
I don't know. I'm an alcoholic. I have wet brain. I don't know. But yeah, it seems like it would be something really cool. Like I would definitely want my daughter to be involved, and she'll probably think she's too cool for it, but then she'll have fun.
Yeah, she'll have fun. It's like exposing them to like the different levels of getting them thinking about careers and you know that hey, I can do this and
Yeah. Well, I think it's really cool to see kids, because when you first start the program, you just have a blank screen. I mean, there's nothing there, and a lot of times it can be a little bit overwhelming because we usually will have them play the game in advance and say, all right, we're going to build that game, and then the first thing you do is you get a blank screen.
Yeah.
And, as you just kind of build it one step at a time, but it shows that satisfaction of being able to get in there and not only do it, but then you're inevitably going to have a problem. I mean, that's a fact of software development. I mean, you're always going to have bugs to track down, and I'm always amazed at the bugs that come up and just the things that they get off track on. And sometimes it's like, I have no idea why it does that. Let's delete some stuff and start over.
Right.
yeah.
I think that's cool getting the seed in early to the whole getting them to mentally deconstruct the things they're playing, because it's like, even if they don't retain like the specific stuff, because it's like, that's one thing they say about training programmers, is it's like, it's not as important when, especially in the academic setting, to get them a specific language so much as it is to get them interested in learning languages in general and just how programming and its principles work in general. And I think it's really cool to get that into them young, to deconstruct the media that they're playing with. So it's just like, even if they're not, using that right away, that seed is planted in their brain years later to actually look at a computer program as, so many users you interact with, they just, this is just a two-dimensional thing. I don't see that. I see all the, what's going on in the code behind and the server side and stuff like that. And I think planting that seed's important, because that just inspires people to be like, to look at the world differently. It's kind of like when I did graphic design for 7 years. I can't look at a wrapped vehicle or a logo and not start deconstructing the layer, especially vectors, deconstructing those in my head, all the layers and stuff, or deconstructing car wraps, like, oh, that's going to be 1AC if they're going to get it to stay in that seam, or like, man, they really put that head right on the door seam, that was a bad design, or something like that. I think that's exciting to give kids that deconstructing their world a little bit. It's fun, and then when you see that, you realize the world is malleable and that you can interact with it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, absolutely, and it's just the process, right? I mean, you go from a blank screen to a completely working game with multiple levels, multiple characters, and then they do have a new appreciation when they play video games, or when they go back home and they're like, okay, I understand what those sprites are. I understand how the characters are moving back and forth, and how the enemy artificial intelligence works. And we've heard from a lot of kids, both the native camps as well as our regular camps, where we've seen them, a year later or 2 years later. And, it's just, like you said, it's just different appreciation when they're doing it, when they're playing something, and they understand. They decompile it much better than if they never had that experience.
Do you have kids that, like, say, like, I know you said you've been doing it for a couple of years. Like, has there been kids that go every year to it or whatever? Or
we've had a few. It's less than I would have expected. There's a handful of kids that have been many years. This is our 4th year, so we've got a few kids that have been doing it 3 or 4 of those years. But usually, they started a little bit later, so a lot of them are now helping out, and so they'll come and they'll mentor the new kids coming in.
That's cool. What got you into designing games? And do you like when you're just at home hanging out or doing whatever, like, do you have like a video game that you're like working on yourself, like at home, just like, oh, I'm
Will is a hardware tweaker.
Yeah. I do a lot of crazy things, but I don't have a big game. I don't really have any interest in doing that either.
Oh, yeah?
I mean, all the games that we do during the camp I've built just for the camp. But I don't really have a big interest in creating my own game or trying to put a game out in the market. I mean, it's a hard business to get into, building video games, and I enjoy teaching kids, and like Rob mentioned, I've been doing a lot of hardware type things over the last couple of years, so I've been kind of tinkering with different microcontrollers and electronics and doing some other things.
Yeah.
So you said you're a software engineer, right?
Well, I mean, technically I'm a nothing. I mean, I didn't go to school. Everything I know is self-taught, but yeah, I mean, I'm a software engineer for many years, and I'm really, really good at it. I've been doing a lot of electronics, so I've been learning electrical engineering lately. But yeah, a lot of different things.
That's cool. Have you seen the movie Grandma's Boy? I know you've probably seen Grandma's Boy, right?
No.
You never seen it? Oh, man. You would love that movie. Have you seen it?
Is it an old movie?
It's maybe, I don't know, maybe like 10, 12 years. It's Nick Swartz in it. It's like an Adam Sandler like produced.
It sounds really familiar.
Yeah.
He's not in it, but it's like about like video games, and like it's based in like he works for like a video game programming company or whatever, and it's just like a weed smoker comedy. But it's really silly. Like Jonah Hill's in it, and it was before Jonah Hill was Jonah Hill. He's still like the big fat like tubby nerdy guy or whatever. Yeah. And it's really funny. But yeah, it just reminded me of that. They're building some video game, and the dude from Avatar, one of the blue guys. The dude from Avatar is in it.
The guy from that other movie?
Yeah.
You know
The blue one.
Yeah. But he's in it. I don't know. It's funny. It's a good movie. You should watch it. It's silly and funny. But yeah, it just reminded me of that.
Well, thanks.
Yeah. That's another movie recommendation. Go watch Grandma's Boy.
Now, Will, you're also a writer too. You've got at least one book under your belt, if I recall correctly.
That's correct.
What's
I've
it
been
about?
kicking around the idea of writing another one.
Okay.
Just a matter of time, I suppose.
Will you find the? Is this the sequel where you'll find the murderer from the first book? Maybe I read the wrong book.
You might have me confused with somebody else. It's Wired for Coding. It's what computer science students need to know to properly prepare themselves for when they graduate. They can actually
And not
get
a
good
thrilling
job.
murder mystery.
It's not.
Right, okay.
It's not.
Just
No.
a surprise twist ending.
So I was like, what? You're right. Those kind of books.
The CPU did it.
Yeah.
But maybe that'll be the next one.
There you go.
Yeah, you should just write like a standard like guide like that, and then the last chapter is just something fucked up.
Some people will be
Artificial
pissed.
intelligence takes over.
Yeah.
Starts killing people on their breaks.
That would be awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, just save that for like the last chapter.
Yeah, it's just like, wait, what?
I wonder if
What's
there's any
happening
books that are kind of like that, non-fiction, and then all of a sudden turn fiction halfway through.
here? Yeah.
The closest
That'd be
example that's
interesting.
popping into my brain right off the bat is I was just watching Extra Credits is doing this series that's the history of sci-fi, and so it's been great. It's been exploding my reading list with like obscure sci-fi I didn't know that is actually like what a lot of the stuff you do know is where they got the idea,
Yeah.
where they stole it from, because it was like in the 20s or the 1890s that it was originally written.
Yeah.
And one of them is it's like the Nightlands or something like that, and that one is weird because the very first chapter is set up as this super flowery romantic novel,
Oh, yeah.
like where this man must go out, and of course it's like written at about the time of Shelley, so the language is super flourishy and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And the first chapter ends with the damsel he's supposed to rescue dies.
Huh.
Okay, chapter 2. He is reincarnated 10,000 years in the future when the sun has
What the
died.
fuck?
And now he's just like...
Yeah.
And keep in mind, this is like the 1890s, so they don't, like, know
Yeah.
half this shit. So I'm like, how did he come up with these ideas?
Huh.
But he's going out, and they're basically all of humanity that's left. There's a million people left alive, and they're inside of this giant black obsidian pyramid, and the sun is dead, and everything is geothermal powered, and they have like psychic powers and crap like that. But the
Crazy.
whole surface of the earth is inhabited by freakish mutants that live outside, that are constantly like banging on the pyramid to get in.
Sweet.
And it's just like, keep in mind, 1890s, so it's not like he had like a horror movie to
Yeah.
base this off of. And there's so much that's like, oh, that's where Lovecraft got that, and holy shit,
Yeah.
and just like, I had to like triple check it. I was like, what year was this written? Sorry, back to the point.
So there's
Is that
fiction
it's
in
a
there and
total,
non-fiction.
it's a total like fake out, because the first chapter is the story of their lives in the 1890s when they're the lovers, and he's
Yeah.
out to rescue her from the bandits, and all of a sudden it's like, but the thing is that their souls remember each other, and this is the vision of them 10,000 years in the future, basically replaying the same story, but much more badass.
Yeah. Couldn't you call maybe like World War Z? Wouldn't that be maybe something like that? Where, because isn't it? It's
Yeah,
like
that's
an
written,
instructional guide
Yeah.
for, but it's like obviously like a ridiculous subject, but it's written like in total seriousness. Like this is like what you need to do, and I don't know.
Yeah, World War Z, the actual book almost has like a Ken Burns documentary feel to it, where
Yeah.
it's just kind of like, it's like, it was day 12 of the apocalypse, and I was I was a 13-year-old boy at the time. I locked myself, it's just like, and I think it goes around between like 8 different characters and stuff, if I remember. I read it like 14 years ago. Or
Yeah, I read it
came
a
out,
really long time ago. I never realized that zombies could walk underwater. It was like, oh, that's all right.
They can't.
cool.
I subscribe to the.
They can't.
I subscribe to the cracked philosophy on zombies that in hot temperatures they would just melt, because even if it's supernatural, if they're a walking corpse, they still need the muscle tissue to move and stuff, and
Yeah.
that flesh would all just decay and fall off in a tropical environment.
Yeah.
And then in the Midwest they would all just freeze. So it's like it's a very narrow band of the earth where zombies would actually be like a viable thing.
I just watched. Damn it! I'm gonna.
That's a lot of thought in that.
Yeah. There's I'm trying to think of this name now. Sorry to bring up another movie here that I just saw, but Cargo. It's on Netflix. Have you seen that?
Oh, it's in my list. I haven't seen it
It's
yet.
good. It's a zombie
It's
movie.
been popping up on my.
Yeah, it's a zombie movie, but it's like it's not a traditional like, zombie movie. It's it's good though. It's got Martin Freeman in it, and it's like it's fucked up. It's good though.
So it's a movie, not like a series.
No, yeah, it's just a movie, and it's like he gets bit. They're like in Africa or whatever, and he's like trying to. They have like these watches, and it's like if you're gonna turn into a zombie. You got 48 hours basically, and you can almost track it with your like. After you get bit, they have like this like little survival kit where they've got like these like X-Acto knife things that they can just inject, into their head to kill themselves or whatever. Or they have these watches, and he's trying to get like his son or daughter, I can't remember. He's got 48 hours basically to find someone to take care of his kid before he completely is done. He's fully transformed into a zombie, and it's really interesting. It's a good movie.
Have you seen the Korean movie? So it's all subtitles, but I was like this was like a little bit into last year, so done with zombie movies, and I had this friend that was like, no, you need to see Train to Busan. And I'm like, okay. And it is so damn good. It totally like reaffirmed my faith in zombie horror, like as an actual viable thing to do. And it's just this dad, and he's got his daughter because it's his weekend for custody or whatever, and they just happen to be on a very busy commuter train in this part of South Korea, and zombie outbreak right in the middle of the commute. So like they get to the next station and they can't stop because things are like trying to get on, and they keep getting mixed. The engineers are getting mixed signals about where they should go, and they have one station where they have to detrain and then switch to another train through basically like an obstacle course to get to it. Great movie.
What's it on?
It was on Netflix when I watched it, so if it's still there.
What's it called?
It's like something Train to it's either like Last Train to Busan, or if you look for Busan on Netflix, you'll find it.
Okay, I'm gonna look it up.
Is that going to be in the show notes?
Yeah, I'll throw it in the show notes.
Yeah, I want to watch it. I've been in like a horror movie kick lately. Good horror movies though.
Yeah, it's just called Train to Busan.
Watched this other fucked up movie recently.
Isn't Jurassic World
That's
couple weeks, right?
Is it next week or the week after? I think it's the week after. I know it opened worldwide. It's out in some countries now, but I don't think it opens here for not next weekend, but the weekend after.
Yeah, 2 weekends. Yeah. So I've had the other one, the Jurassic World, at my house. It's been on repeat. Watched it like 4 times. The twins are all like. Yeah.
What do they think of the dinosaurs?
One of them didn't want to watch it because they're like, "Oh, dinosaurs! That's no way." The other one, but after a while, they both got into it. They like it. Yeah, they got they brought all their little dinosaur figurines out and just watching it. But some of those parts are kind of like gruesome. Like so I'll be like, close your eyes, look away.
I remember that age being on like a total dinosaur kick. Like going to the library and checking out books on dinosaurs and sharks and.
Then I started to I remember when I was younger, I knew all the dinosaurs and like what they were, but now I can't even remember. I'm like, all I know is the long neck.
It's brontosaurus.
Yeah, like very limited knowledge now, but.
Yeah, whenever I moved, this is too much, but whenever I moved from Boston to the res, like we drove, and it was me, my brother, and my mom, and my uncle, and our dog, and we had like a little silver hatchback. I don't know how we all fit in the car. Like we had like one of those fucking things, like cargo things on top.
Sure.
And then we had a moving truck took the rest of our shit out there, but I refused to go like on this trip without my big stuffed dinosaur. The big stuffed brontosaurus. His name was Big Dino, and I refused. I was like 13 too. It's like what the fuck? Yeah, Big Dino. That was my guy.
You compare 13-year-olds from back then.
I know. Yeah. Lyrics 12, and she's way more mature
Part
than
of that is girls too.
Oh yeah. That's
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking as the guy that grew up with 5 sisters in the house.
Oh man. I remember the first time I went to Universal Studios. they have that Jurassic Park theme. And there's like this big, I think, what is it, like a T-Rex. It comes down at you and then you like drop on the water slide and go drop down.
Oh, that was such a great ride.
Mm-hmm.
You've
You've been there too then, huh?
Yep, I went with a tour group of foreign exchange students because our family was always hosting foreign exchange students.
Okay.
And so I was on this bus with all these girls from Sweden, these guys from South Korea, and then it was like me and the guy from Brazil and Germany hanging out. And then one French guy who would pop in and out, but he was so French because he would just go like, "This is pedantic," and then would just like, keep in mind he's like 16, smoking this like pedantic, and he'll just like disappear. And the chaperones are just like, "Where the hell is Fluid?" But yeah. Anyway, went with them. Went on that ride. That was fucking amazing. I had the T-shirt that was like saying I survived the Jurassic Park ride.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I went with my dad and my older sister, and so there's like a picture that we, bought, and we're like, like our faces. It was like one of the best rides out of like the whole place, and that was the first time I ever really seen like robots and stuff, because they have all those dinosaurs, and they had one like on a leash, and it was like a park person. I was like, kept thinking in my head, and I was like middle school, high school, about to be in high school when I went, and I was still thinking, I was like, is that real? And I was like, no, that can't be real, but it looked so real. It was like moving around and like blinking. And
yeah, it's like, I wonder what it'd be like if I went, because I mean, that was like 99, I think, when I did that, and I wonder how real they'd look to me now.
Yeah.
But at the time, it was just like, wow, I am in the movie. My favorite Easter egg from that ride is that there was one point where they're talking and they kind of are directing you to this, but if you look, I was on the like far right and couldn't really see what was going on. Looked over to the right, there's two of those tiny dinosaurs, animatronic, and they're fighting over a box of popcorn from it's got the Universal Studios like concession stand thing, and they're like tug of warring back and forth, and it's this little animatronic Easter egg off to the side, and I was like, that's awesome.
Yeah, it always reminds me of the movie, Jurassic World, where they're like talking and like telling them to look around at stuff, and that's exactly how it was on that water park ride. So.
When I was little, this is when I still lived in Boston. I don't know why they did this or what was happening, but I was young, and like my mom and my grandma and my grandpa took me and my brother to the Boston Museum of like Natural Sciences or something like that.
Cool.
And it was like 7 a.m. It was early as fuck in the morning. I can't remember, but they brought a dinosaur like on a helicopter. They had and they helicoptered it in, and it was a brontosaurus like being like carried by this helicopter.
Sweet.
And they brought it down, and then I think it was like to kick off, like they must have had like some dinosaur exhibit or whatever, but that's like one of my earliest memories of like being a kid, was like seeing this brontosaurus being carried by a helicopter across like the bay or the river or whatever. It's like, whoa, yeah, I don't remember anything about like why it happened, or I just remember it happened.
It's like, whoa.
Yeah, I remember, it was early as hell. There was a bunch of us, it was all cold out, and seen a dinosaur in a helicopter. It's pretty awesome.
And then that messes with you forever, like, was that real?
Yeah. Remember, did you ever, there was a movie called Baby. You ever see that movie? It's an old school dinosaur movie. They're like in the jungles of like Africa, and they found like a brontosaurus. It was old. It was like,
I never remember it.
It's like 84, something like that. I was trying to look that up. I thought I dreamt that, but it's like
this has been movies Gabe dreamt.
Yeah. Yeah. I was trying to look it up on YouTube to see how stupid that looks now, but I remember back in the day, like when I was like 6, I was like, holy shit, that's a real dinosaur, but I bet it looks terrible now. Yeah.
That's the problem, is the name is so generic. Now there's
so like
10 movies named Baby.
Baby Brontosaurus or something like that. I don't know.
So is that your obsession?
Yeah. It's crazy. I don't know. They have dinosaur video games. Have you built a dinosaur video game?
Not yet. I don't think so.
Could you do like say like you wanted to insert like a T-Rex into like the Mario Brothers game? Would that be possible?
Oh yeah, it's super easy. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. No, that's what the kids do anyways. Just change the characters.
Awesome.
Yeah. Or take regular characters and give them like red eyes or stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's cool. What's like the craziest character Has there been like, no, you can't do that? Like, have you told anybody that like they tried to do something?
Not so much in our gaming boot camps, but we do a code club at Sioux Falls Christian too. I've had to pull back on a few of their creations.
Like Jesus in Contra or something like that?
No,
or?
the other direction. Not school appropriate.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, but no, this year we you familiar with the Doodle Jump? Remember that game? The little doodle guy. It was one of the early phone games where you used the accelerometer, where you tip the phone and the guy would go back and forth. And he was always jumping, and you just had to have him not fall. You had to get to the next platform. So that's one of the games that we're going to recreate this summer in our gaming boot camp. But I thought I'd try something a little bit different and see if the kids draw their own characters. Yeah. And so now, like Tuesday, they'll draw their characters, and then we'll scan them all in and then bring them back in as on the flash drive, so they can then bring their own doodles into the Doodle Jump game.
Sweet. So do they like? It's just like they got like markers and they just.
I just brought some pencils and some Sharpies, and they can just sketch out what they want and then just outline it in a Sharpie, and then I outsource it all to my son to do the photoshopping and get the backgrounds out.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's badass.
Like cheap child labor.
That's right. That's right. Well, it's not that cheap when you factor everything else into
true.
it.
It's very expensive.
He's always hitting me up for money. He's like, well, I'll do it if you pay me. I'm like, you're going to do it for free.
Yeah. Yeah.
And for the record, Gabe, that movie was Baby, Secret of the Lost Legend.
Oh, yes.
1985.
Nice.
And that...
So not Baby Brian.
Ooh, Patrick McGowan was in it.
Oh.
Sean Young... Yeah.
That wasn't the one where they had like a series that spun out after it, did they?
It does not appear so. But the baby dinosaur is kind of cute.
Yeah.
Kind of cute.
Does it look realistic?
Super fake.
Yeah.
But kind of cute.
Oh, yeah.
That one movie. That's not the one where that little weird thing, creatures in it. I think they're all dinosaurs. Maybe not. He's like, not the mama, not the mama.
Oh,
that's
dinosaurs. That's
literally a
TV show. Yeah.
The most tragic sitcom ending in history.
Oh, yeah.
Because that one ends with, I don't know if you recall the series at all, but then let me inform you on the history of dinosaurs. So it was basically a pretty light fare where it was a sitcom and they project a lot of like modern life issues onto these giant dinosaurs. It was the like early 90s, so it worked. Bear with me here. So the very last episode, how they ended the whole series was with an ecological disaster where they killed all these weevils, so then all these vines took over. So then the dad gets hired by the evil corporate guy that's basically like their analog for Mr. Burns.
I do kind of remember that now.
Comes up with the idea to spray for the vines, which kills all the plant life. So then everyone's starving. So then they get the idea to put all these hydrogen bombs in volcanoes to make it rain with clouds. And then that's what triggers the whole, like, winter that kills the dinosaurs. And the series literally ends with all of them huddled in blankets in the living room watching the TV with the news report just saying, like, there is no sun and there is no hope in sight. Wow. And the little baby dinosaur asking, are we going to be okay? and the dad just being like, I don't know, son. I don't know. End of series. Fuck you, kids of the 90s.
Yeah. Have you ever seen the end of Alf? Like that, it's a similar end to Alf.
That was unintentional, though.
Yeah.
They were supposed to get a third season, and they didn't, so it just ends with federal agents who are like, take him and dissect him. Yeah. The end.
That's fucking Alf.
I hate those endings.
It's fucked up.
Man.
They should do like a crossover where they got all these like shared universes now. They should do like a Alf like dinosaurs shared universe. Alf could come from outer space or whatever and like come visit the dinosaur world. Yeah. He could re-inhabit the Earth. Like
cats.
Okay, Patton
yeah. That would be great. Yeah.
Have you ever seen that on Parks and Recreation? Patton Oswalt's pitch for this is before that we finally got the Infinity Wars movie.
Yeah.
I'll link to it in the show notes. But Patton Oswalt gives this like And apparently the disclaimer at the beginning from the producers of Parks and Recreation is that this is not scripted. He just comes up with this entire thing off the top of his head.
Yeah.
And he comes up with this whole concept for a shared Marvel, Star Wars, etc. universe where it's like the X-Men Blackbird shows up through a wormhole and eventually it's he's just like, and Chewie's head gets cut off. Now don't freak out yet because Chewie's head on a spider cyborg body fighting Jedi, that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Or fighting the X-Men. He's like, that's gonna happen.
I remember watching it on YouTube, but I don't remember much of it. I just remember it being so outlandish and ridiculous, but brilliant at the same time. It was like, that would be awesome.
And what's funny is someone's pointed out that with Disney acquiring Fox, it would actually be like all the legal rights are now in place to make that crossover happen.
Hopefully that never happens. That would be the worst.
You'd still go see it, though.
I would, but I would be very upset about it.
Yeah, it'd be a very shut up and take my money.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Good times. Good times. I don't know. I think that is probably about it. I don't. You got anything else to talk about? I could ramble about movies for a long time.
Where'd you go last night?
Oh, I was just
putting you on blast. And tell everybody.
I was just at TJ's and then went to the Top Hat and went to that Blarney Stone. That Blarney Stone's pretty nice.
Yeah, I've been in there once.
It's like a downstairs and all kinds of shit in there. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, everyone likes the downstairs. Have you guys been to it yet?
I've only been to the downstairs.
Yeah, that's...
Oh, in the at the Blarney Stone? Yeah, it was cool. I had never been there before. I was like, this is a nice little spot. Go there, and I didn't know anybody in there. I could just totally hide in there. Like, bring random people in there. Be like, nobody's gonna know me in here.
I'm engaged in a very strict diet right now, so the most exotic place I've been in the last 2 weeks is Juice Stop down here on the corner.
Yeah. What do you get at Juice Stop? Lyric's always bugging me to go there.
You used to always get America's Cup with the wellness blend. Now I get the I think it's called the Butterfly because there's like a whole bunch of sherbet in it, and it's like my only shot at sugar in the week. So.
Yeah, right on. Yeah, Lyric wanted me to go there, so we went there, and then I was like, what are you going to get? And I thought she was going to get something cool. She's just got a chocolate shake. I was like, we could have just got that at, like, McDonald's. Yeah, I was like...
Burger King?
Yeah.
That's who makes the best shakes.
Yeah, I'll agree with that statement. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't ever go wrong with, like, their strawberry or...
Strawberry banana. That's where it's at.
I have a friend that's obsessed. He lives, like, within, like, 10 feet walking distance, his apartment building, one of the Jamba Juices on the east side, and he just, like, hoards they make those suicides, the tornadoes or whatever, where they just take the, like, leftovers and just pour them into a cup and then freeze them.
And then too.
He's got, like, a freezer filled with those. Yeah.
Crazy. What else do you eat, like, on your diet? Is it just like a liquid diet, or what is it?
It's intermittent fasting. So I eat 1 meal a day, and it's super tiny with like grilled chicken breast with vegetables and maybe some little potato things. I don't know. Amanda's the diet she used to be a professional dietitian. Yeah. And so she is doing all that stuff, and that's the nice thing is I don't have to keep track of that crap, because if I had to keep track of that crap, diet over.
Yeah, I'm usually good with that. But then last night I ate a whole pizza. I ordered Papa John's and I ate a whole pizza.
God,
I felt so terrible this morning. I was like, God,
that's about
fat ass. Yeah, I felt really guilty this morning about that. I don't know. But when you're drunk, you're just going to order fucked up food and eat it.
Yeah, you just prepare for it.
I don't know. That intermittent fasting, isn't that like you eat like for 8 hours, or you can eat for 8 hours and then you fast for 16? Or is it you're just eating the one?
There's like 10 different versions of it, and so I'm doing the 1 meal a day variant or whatever. So
it's a lot of liquids, though.
So yeah, I just drink a lot of fluid and just suffer. But the idea is that I'll lose faster and kind of reset my metabolism and stuff like that. So
are you only doing it for a set amount of time then?
There's a maximum I can do it. I think so like basically I'm supposed to tell Amanda when I want to tap out, but go as long as I can push myself to within the range she gives me. So I think Friday's the day where whether I'm ready or not, she'll tell me I have to end it, and then she'll give me the things I eat after that. So.
That's
so how
cool.
long have you been doing it?
We are day 14, I think.
Oh wow.
Holy crap.
That's
Yeah.
good.
So it's been a hungry, angry 2 weeks.
Are you exercising on top of it too?
No,
or?
you're not supposed to during the fast phase. That's what got me on the Sanford profile, was that I was doing Sanford profile, which was throwing me into keto, or trying to, and then plus I was doing a workout regimen, and I ended up, and this is why I won't do
Gaining
profile.
weight?
No, I was in the middle of a personal training session and I literally passed out on the machine because I was so weak from like lack of calories. And it was the scariest thing because I was just like pushing myself so hard, and all of a sudden I'm on this like weight machine. Luckily I was on one that didn't kill me because I passed out in it, but I was doing like presses or whatever, and finally I was just like pass out, just like a rag doll for like a few seconds, and then I was super, super nauseous for like 3 days afterwards. And
Wow.
yeah, so not cool, and not doing profile. So
Yeah.
and it kind of scared me off of trying to do a dieting or any kind of like wellness thing until this is my newest attempt here. So
Have you since you've been on it for 2 weeks? Have you noticed has there been any like weight loss or?
I am not weighing myself because it's not about that. It's about wellness. But no, I am down like 23 pounds or something.
Oh,
like
wow.
that. But
Congratulations.
when you're in my weight range, it's kind of like 20 pounds.
20
That sounds like a reckless weekend.
That's awesome. That's just in the 14 days?
Yeah, the 14 days. But especially with a fast, the first, because you cycle, you do the fast, then you do the like restricted diet thing, and then you fast, and it's on off. The very first one, it's going to be a lot of water weight, I assume. So
that's awesome. Yeah, good
Water
job.
weights. Yeah.
I feel guilty. I haven't been to the gym in about 2 weeks now. It's not good.
Me too, because I went to DC and then last week was crazy. We had our intern start, took a trip to Fort Thompson, so I was just like, I need to get back in it. Luckily, coworkers started a walking challenge because our interns are starting, so it's kind of like a group bonding thing. So I'll be running a lot, not walking. I'm not a walker, but I'll be getting my 3 miles. So.
we did a stairs challenge at Midco, and we actually had a team. We were I wanted Rolling Thunder as the name of it. Some of the team names were amazing because I literally on purpose for comedic effect recruited the 2 other like fattest guys in the software development team. And, but we did it, and we were not last. We were like mid-range on this.
Yeah.
And helped that we made the intern do it all. No, but that's one of my jokes in the office is always it's the start of intern season, and I'm just kind of like. Fetch my palanquin. The interns carry me upstairs, and that'll be their stairs chat.
You have to get one. Remember, like those Egyptian, where they would carry the.
That's a palanquin.
Oh, okay, all right, I got you.
So how do you count? You just count the flights of stairs then?
Yeah, they gave us because there's one really big flight of stairs in the middle of the atrium that links the old building with the new building. And people just use those stairs kind of because that's like the only stairs in the Midco building.
Oh, okay.
And so they actually calculated it out how many trips up and down equals so many steps, and then they had a big chart up that was like, here's the Empire State Building, here's Statue of Liberty, and just like, so when you've done it this many times, you've climbed this high, and it went on for like 2 weeks, I think. So.
Nice.
Yeah, most people use this. We have elevators in our building, which is there's only 2 floors, but everyone uses the stairs. So it's like if you're using the elevator, everyone's like being super nosy, like, why are they using the elevator?
There is no stigma about the elevator at Midco, but it is. I believe there is a plaque in there from Guinness World Book of Records for being the slowest goddamn elevator. Because there's story 1 and story 2, and it's just like, well, I'm going to take the elevator, so I'll see you in 30 minutes up there. It's like,
yeah, our elevator's super old too because it used to be the old Hutch building, and so
okay.
like,
It's not even old. This is the new building, and this is a newer elevator, but it is just like, I mean, it's so slow you get to the point where you're like banging on the inside. Okay, let's go.
well, that would be scary.
Yeah. Crazy shit. Well, we got to end our show, we got a new song with Felipe Rose, who's my buddy. He was supposed to call in from the Village People. He hit me up and was like wanting to be on the show, but yeah, I don't know, he's not answering his phone today. So
no show.
Yeah. But I mean, he's a legend, so I mean, he's a Village People.
We'll get him on
Better
sometime.
offer.
Yeah, he's probably like, man, fuck these guys. But
It was either this or TMZ.
yeah. But yeah, he's got a new song out with Sten Jody, who was our guest a couple weeks ago, I think. And then, Felipe is a good friend of mine. We had done, I met him in New York at the Native American Music Awards, and then I did a song for him a long time ago, too. But yeah, he's a good dude. He got me into, they did a show at the Corn Palace like 5 or 6 years ago. Got me into VIP at the Corn Palace.
Nice.
Yeah, I felt cool.
Does that mean that you had a newer grain sack to cover your 5-gallon bucket that you had?
Yeah. It was silk.
Just sliding that.
And that night I found out that we had been doing how they do like the YMCA thing. I found out we were doing that wrong my entire life. Because they have some different way that, I don't know, but yeah.
I was so pumped because I worked for the YMCA of the Twin Cities. I have a gigantic YMCA toy bus up here that like lights up and flashes lights and plays the song and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And when we'd sell a membership, we'd hit the button that was like our bell to celebrate the sale or whatever. And I still have it up here. And my brain being like addled, you said on phone, but I kept thinking, man, when he's in the studio, I should have him sign my YMCA bus. That's fucking rule. And then like 5 seconds later, it's a phone interview, dumbass. Oh, okay. And yet that thought has popped in like 3 times this week.
Yeah. Felipe is a good dude. So shout out to Felipe Rose. Thank you, Will, for
Thank you so
thanks
much
for having
joining
me.
us.
Thank you.
Yeah, and so our Facebook will have all the links to.
Oh, yeah.
I'm definitely gonna get my daughter involved, whether she likes it or not. So I
And
will.
it's like,
warden
are you guys
for the
gonna have
summer.
it downtown again?
Yeah,
The next
we're going to
one
do
in
one
July.
at the same location, and then another one's going to be at the Boys and Girls Club, Sioux Empire.
So the next one will be like walking distance for
Yeah,
her.
yeah, that'll be awesome. I don't have to drive her over there.
Yeah, even better.
Yeah. So yeah, shout out to everybody if there's anybody watching on Facebook or
Yeah, thank you.
on live, and we will see you guys in a couple weeks. And as we finish the show, we will finish with the new Felipe and Sten Jody song. So.
Tonka shala wakan tanka makiayo. Aho medakiase.
Zipping up my boots, going back to my roots, yeah, to the place of my birth, back down to earth. I've been standing in the rain, drenched and soaked with pain, tired of short-term benefits, and being exposed to the elements. I'm homeward bound, got my head turned around.
Yeah, all the duplicating out the originals. Imposter roster need to learn the principles. Faking it to make it, they the type of individuals. Yeah, that'll jack your style. From the heritage down to the sound. Turn it back to the old me now. Was never lost, so I can't be found. What goes around comes around. This is my legacy, this is my life. This is my battle, and this is my fight.
Zipping up my boots, going back to my roots, yeah, to the place of my birth,
my spirit's getting low. It's time to recharge my soul. I'm zipping up my boots, going back to my roots, yeah, to the place of my birth, back down to earth. Zipping up my boots, going back to my roots, yeah, to the place of my birth, back down to earth. Going back to my roots,
This is my legacy, this is my life.
place of my birth, back down to earth.
This is my battle, and this is my fight. Yeah.
Going back to my roots, place of my birth, back down to going back to my roots, place of my birth, zipping up my boots, 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 boots.
A production of the SiouxEmpire.com.